These earbuds have a really unique design and they sound really good too. Let's check them out. Dave Taylor here, and I'm looking at another pair of earbuds. I have looked at hundreds of earbuds over the years here on my YouTube channel, and 99% of them go in your ear canal. So they either go in your ear canal and have like a dot on the top, or they have a little stick that comes down from your ear. But in all cases, they are blocking your ear canal. And so what that means is you're being cut out from your environment. Now, if you're in a commute, if you're in a noisy office, if you're on an airplane, then being able to isolate yourself is a good thing. But if you're on a run or a bike ride or a hike or you're gardening, or you just want to be able to hear everything going on around you while you're enjoying, I don't know, your latest podcast, maybe an audiobook, or who knows, maybe actual music, then the open ear design that's just starting to become popular is really a cool alternative. And that's what I'm looking at today. So these, let me take it off my ear. Actually, let me show you my ear first, are the 1MORE S20 Open Ear Earbuds. And as you can see, it looks like a little piece of jewelry for your ear. And the larger portion goes behind your ear, and the smaller portion, which has a tiny speaker, basically points directly into your ear canal. And then you just sort of adjust it up and down to make it comfortable. I'll do the same with the other one. And that's it. They're super comfortable, and you could easily wear them for hours on end with no ear fatigue at all. Now, let me give you some specs and then we'll get a demo going. So, first off, 11mm composite drivers giving you 20 to 40,000 hertz frequency response. That's more than I can hear, and I'm gonna guess it's more than you can hear, but it does have a large range of sound. Bluetooth 5.4, high-res audio, and there's a low latency mode, although I didn't have any issues with that. But if you're watching video or gaming, even on your mobile device, then you're gonna wanna go into low latency mode. It features something called BassMORE, and that actually, BassMORE Plus, and that actually gives you more low frequency, which is always good. And then together, they actually have a 4-microphone environmental noise canceling recording capability, which is pretty darn slick. And they're IPX5 water resistant, and the earbuds are going to give you around 5 hours of playback time optimally. I find that they're not super loud, so I've been turning the volume up on my source device, which lowers that battery life. But put them in the case and you'll get up to 30 hours total, plus or minus. And it does have a custom 1MORE app that gives you the ability to do really critical things like update firmware. So I want to show you the app, and then I'll give you a recording demo. But first, I want you to know that this is our background factory noise. So you ready? This is what that sounds like. So it just sounds like I'm in a warehouse or something, and so it's a noisy environment that we'll be able to use to test that environmental noise canceling. But first, let me get the recording going on my phone, and I'll show you the 1MORE app. So let's see, here we go. So in the app, you can see that I have chosen the same color as the device. So in the app, the little icons look the same. I have full battery on all 3 components. And then the sound options does have some preset EQs. You can do bass boost, classical, pop. Notice on the bottom, it shows you the different waveforms. And I can back up. And then custom settings let you adjust the tap feedback and what it means. And you can see here, there's a fair number of different things you can do to customize it. I have to be honest, I generally use my source device for most of those sort of things. There are some shortcuts, the most important of which is I can enable low latency. So that means that the delay between the source transmitting a sound and this device hearing it and picking it up and playing it back to me is shortened. So generally, what this means is that if you're listening to music, it doesn't really matter. If you're off by a quarter of a second, that's not a big deal. But if you're watching a video, then when the people's voices get out of sync with their mouth motion, that gets very disturbing. And when you're gaming, if you're gaming on a mobile device or a tablet that you've paired these to, then you really want to have the minimum latency possible, because when you hear something, you should be able to immediately react without being behind a couple of, fractions of a second, because your competitors aren't. So they gives you that option. There's a quick guide to the product that shows you how to fit it. It shows you where the tap spot is, how to tap, and all that sort of features. Settings, perhaps the most important here is firmware update, and I am up to date, which is great. And you can pick the color that you want. The units that I'm aware of, which is this, comes in black or blue or purple, so I'm not sure what that top color is in the app. Maybe that's a color only available from the manufacturer. There is experimental features, but there aren't any experimental features. Perhaps in an update that will show up. FAQ, contact us, all about the company. So lots of good stuff here. So I want to give you the demo of the recording. So to do that, we're going to switch over to here, and I'm going to go into voice memos. Now, what you're hearing is my voice is picked up by the 1MORE S20 Open Ear Earbuds, and you can hear it does a pretty good job. But how does that environmental noise canceling work? So watch, I'm going to tap on this. In fact, it's so good, you really won't hear this. So I can hear that I'm now in this noisy factory environment, but it does a pretty darn good job. In fact, let's turn the volume up and turn it towards me. So it is pretty darn loud, but you can hear it's doing a pretty good job. And let's stop, and I'll just keep talking over that point at which I stopped the background. And I got to give them credit. This is a really well done noise cancellation system for your voice, which means you can be on a phone call with someone while you're walking through a noisy environment, and they're just going to hear you and not all of the environment around you. Really well done. Now, let me switch back to my regular microphone. So that's my full demo, and I gotta say, there's a lot I really like about these. Now, by the nature of the design, there's not really much depth or soundstage to the audio, but again, if you're listening to something while you're doing something else, these work perfectly well, and they will definitely allow you to listen to things, except I found that in a noisy environment, they don't get super loud. Now, one of the conversations I had with 1MORE was about whether this portion could be slightly longer, because I feel like this portion of my ear, and you can see it in this illustration, is maybe a little wider than most people. I have larger ears, I admit that, but I feel like this, if it was only just like a fraction of an inch longer, would actually work much better for my ears. They're not adjustable, so you sort of get what you get. But I did find that in noisy environments, like walking down the street, I really lost my music entirely, as like a vehicle would drive by or something. And that was at full volume. So that's something worth knowing. I would say that in a quieter environment, though, these are extraordinary. I really like the design. I think it's really fun to have what really looks like, honestly, it's like an ear cuff. So it makes me way more hip and stylish than I normally am. But it looks like an ear cuff, but it actually has functionality and plays music. So how cool is that? So lots to like here. It's a very elegant design and has USB-C on the bottom to plug in and charge with. You can see here in this close-up that there's a magnetic system, so they'll stay in so you don't lose them if you accidentally drop this or something. I mean, there's really a lot to like here. And these are definitely ones worth checking out, particularly if you really are attracted to the design. Be aware for some ear shapes that it's possible they will not be as loud as you'd like in loud environments. So these are probably not going to be great for the factory floor, but they might be perfectly well for you to be able to listen to things in the library or even in a class. When you're really bored, you can just like turn on in your phone and just start listening to something else, because honestly, your professor's not that exciting. So that's really what I wanted to share with you. We do need to talk price. Before we get to the price, I'm going to ask you to subscribe to my channel. Click or tap on that subscribe button. Hit that bell icon for notifications. Give me a thumbs up if you found this of value. And of course, I certainly hope that you did. Excellent. These are the 1MORE S20 Open Ear Earbuds. They come in black or blue or purple, and purple's also really cool. And they are $49.99, currently minus 20%, dropping them down to $39.99 at Amazon.com. So I think that if you're interested in open ear designs and you're interested in something that looks like a piece of jewelry, then this is a really solid match in both cases, and definitely one to check out. That's what I got. I'm going to go back to my music, so I'll have to catch you in my next video.